You know, when we think of the richest people ever, we usually think of tech titans, oil barons, Wall Street types. But way before any of them, there was a man whose fortune was so huge, so immense, that it's actually almost impossible to even calculate. We're going to dive into the story of the wealthiest person who ever lived.
And no, that is not an exaggeration. It's pretty much historical consensus. I mean, we are talking about a level of wealth that makes today's billionaires look like they're just getting their start. This is a fortune so massive it could literally, and I mean literally, change the world around him just by existing.
So who was this guy? His name was Mansa Musa. He was an African emperor from the 14th century, and his story, wow, it's a story of unimaginable riches, a really strange destiny, and a legacy that, you'll see, goes so far beyond just gold.
Okay, so Mansa Musa was the emperor of the Mali Empire in West Africa. And you got to understand, at a time when Europe was really struggling, Mali was absolutely thriving. It controlled a massive share of the world's gold supply. Gold was the engine of his empire, and he was firmly in the driver's seat.
But here is where the story gets a little weird. Musa didn't fight his way to the throne. He didn't conquer his way to the top. He got it because of one of the most bizarre and mysterious disappearances in all of history. See, his predecessor got completely obsessed with an idea that would change everything.
Let's just walk through this, because it's an incredible story. The king, Abu Bakr II, was totally convinced he could cross the Atlantic Ocean. So his first attempt, a complete disaster. Almost everyone was lost. But instead of giving up, he doubled down, leading a gigantic fleet himself. And he was just never seen again. Poof, gone. And just like that, Mansa Musa, who had just been left in charge temporarily, well, he went from regent to permanent emperor. So, in 1324, Musa decides to go on the Hajj, the sacred pilgrimage to Mecca. But, you know, this was no ordinary religious journey. Oh no, this was a statement to the entire world. It wasn't just a caravan, it was basically a moving kingdom designed to show off the immense power and, of course, the wealth of the Mali Empire. Just look at these numbers for a second. 60,000 people. That's the size of a modern city on the move. And his personal attendants, 12,000 of them, were each carrying solid gold bars. This wasn't just wealth, you guys. This was a spectacle on a scale the world had never ever seen before.
Can you just imagine seeing that? Seeing this procession just appear on the desert horizon? I mean, the awe, the shock people must have felt, it would have been absolutely incredible. It wasn't just a king visiting, it was like a mobile mountain of gold, a living, breathing testament to his empire's power.
The real climax of this whole incredible journey happened when the caravan reached Cairo. Because here, Mansa Musa's generosity would have an effect so profound it would be remembered for centuries. He wasn't just about to spend some money, he was about to break an entire market. He just gave away so much gold to the poor, to merchants, to basically everyone he met, that the sheer supply of it crashed its value. The price of gold just plummeted, and because of that, prices for everything else skyrocketed. His act of charity single-handedly caused an economic crisis that, according to some sources, took the region years to recover from. Just think about that for a second. This man's personal spending habits had macroeconomic consequences for an entire region. Wealth on that level isn't just money, it's like a force of nature, able to reshape the economic landscape of whole nations just by its presence.
But you know, if the story ended with just gold and broken economies, we'd be missing the most important part. Mansa Musa was so much more than just rich. He was a visionary. He understood that a true empire isn't built on what you can spend, but on what you can build. And that brings us to his transformation of a legendary city.
When he came back from Mecca, he poured his fortune into turning Timbuktu into a world-class center for learning and culture. He built mosques, universities, huge libraries. And at a time when much of Europe was still kind of in the dark ages, Timbuktu was this shining beacon of knowledge, attracting the greatest minds of the day.
And this, right here, this really gets to the real story. His gold, it was temporary. It could be spent, it could be given away, it could even be devalued, as we saw. But his investment in knowledge, in culture, in education, that was his true lasting empire. He built a civilization, not just a bank account.
His fame spread so far and wide that European mapmakers, who had probably never even met anyone who had met him, knew exactly who he was. In 1375, he was actually drawn on the Catalan Atlas, one of the most important maps of the medieval world, sitting on a throne holding a giant gold nugget. He was, quite literally, put on the map as the King of Gold.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? We try to put a number on his fortune today, 400 billion, a trillion, whatever, but it's impossible. His wealth wasn't a figure in a ledger, it was a phenomenon. It was something you had to see to believe, a moving kingdom, a collapsing market, a city of knowledge rising out of the desert sand.
So the story of Mansa Musa really leaves us with a pretty big question. Is a legacy measured by the gold you pile up, or by the knowledge and culture you build for the generations that come after you? His story seems to suggest the answer is pretty clear.